What's up guys, Matt with BleepinJeep. In a previous video titled 3 Ways to Remove a Wheel Lock Without a Key, I showed you 3 ways to remove a wheel lock without a key. In the comments section, there were a lot of people who had suggestions on easier ways that I could go about it. So in this video, I'm going to show you 5 user suggested ways from you, the subscriber. Let's get started. Hey guys, this video is brought to you by TMR Customs. I've always had great customer service from them and their parts are phenomenal. Everything from rod ends, lifetime heims, roll cage and chassis builder parts, 4-link brackets, axle trusses, Jeep bumpers, armor, dimple dies, fabrication tools, steering builder parts, and more. Check them out at tmrcustoms.com. Okay, first of all, let's take a look at the 4 different locks that we're up against. The first one is made by MOPAR, and this one is the most unique. It has a ring on the outside that can spin, and the lock has this kind of puzzle piece, and the key is the opposite. And if you turn it just right, it locks in, and that is how it works. It's going to be pretty hard to beat that one. It's the most complex. On a side note, this MOPAR key is the one that I had in the first video, and I needed to remove it because the dealer would not help me, and I couldn't get a key or order one, and they said they didn't know what type of key to order because they were all different. So I'm not trying to steal wheels. I'm not trying to show you how to steal wheels. There's many legitimate reasons that you need to be able to get these off, and the thieves already know how to do so without watching this video. The next wheel lock, this one here, is a McGuard wheel lock, and it's very similar to the MOPAR in that it has a puzzle type piece and a key corresponding. It just doesn't have the ring on the outside, but it's very smooth and cylindrical on the outside. The third one is this Gorilla Guard wheel lock, and it's pretty unique because it has this key that's inside. It's kind of hidden, so the key goes inside the wheel lock there, as you can see. And the fourth one is this one you're all used to. It's pretty much universal wheel lock, and I wouldn't even say it's a lock because there's not that many keys out there, and they pretty much all fit the same one. There's a couple different ones, but that you can get at any auto parts store, so it's not going to cover you very well if you're trying to lock up your wheels. Whereas these, a lot of people said just go buy one at the auto parts store. Well, these, there are hundreds of combinations, and it's going to be very rare or almost impossible to find the right key. That's why they make these. They are locks, and they have different combinations to them. So that said, I don't think every method is going to work for every wheel lock. That's why I showed you the differences. But let's move on to the first suggested method. Alex Ottoman says hammering the right size 12-point socket on works nearly every time. 505XJ says I used a 12-point metric socket, hammered it on over the lock. That's how I got the lock off. No grinding or welding. Let's give it a shot. All right, I found some 12-point sockets, and I wanted to let you know this ring does spin. I didn't realize that until now. So you can't pound one over the top of that because it will just spin. This one spins as well, although you might be able to get a grab on there. It's easier said than done, though, to find the right socket that's going to fit on there. I think this one might fit on here, this one might fit inside there, and this one might fit over the top. So let's pound them on and see if this works. I hope it does work because it is in there good. Oh yeah, that worked like a charm, although I'll probably never get my socket back. How about this one? Let's try this one. Oh, nope, that's eating it up. Let's hammer it on harder. Oh yeah. Let's try this one. Nope, it's just spinning that ring. So I need to try to get that off now before it gets a lot worse. Yeah, you see that? All it did was grab onto the outer ring there. And for the McGuard, I can't find a socket that fits right. Since it's so cylindrical, it's either way too small or just way too big. The second most suggested method was this. Clinton Valentine says, dude, grab your vice grips, tighten them so you need channel locks to clamp them, add pipe to the handle, and you're off. Let's give it a try. So I think vice grips are going to be easier said than done. I think it's going to work well on this one, but the rest, it's hard to tell, maybe from the video, but that thing is further in than the wheel, and this one is just barely, it's pretty much flush with the wheel. So trying to get vice grips on there is a challenge because you're fighting against the wheel as well. It's not sticking out far enough. This one, yes, it sticks out much further. Let's give it a shot. I don't think that's gonna work, folks. No, I'm just slipping. Okay, I'm gonna say that is a no-go on the vice grips. Maybe, just maybe, if you had name brand that were really sharp and you could get it on there really tight and the lug nut was sticking out really far and it was this type of lug nut. But this one with the spinny doodad and this one that's super smooth, definitely not gonna work, and you're not gonna be able to get a grip on there because it's too far recessed into the wheel. So that leads us to technique number 3. Cowboy Woodward says, cold chisel and hammer works every time. Old school works. Let's give it a shot. Hammer, chisel. I also have a air chisel, but I realize most of you don't have one of those, so let's give it the old-fashioned method. As he says, it always works. Let's give it a shot. I will do my best. Let's try this guy here. It's super smooth. It's going to be hard to get a good bite in there. Okay, I got something started there. Now we're going to work it to the left, see if we can break it free. Oh, I'm going to damage the wheel again. This is not working as advertised, Cowboy. You said it works every time. Let's give it a shot on this one. I feel like there could be more success because it has some bite there to it. Okay, I give up. Let's try the air hammer and see if that works any better. Cowboy Woodward, you lied to me, and now we're going to have to move on to technique number 4. So, Jeffrey Cornell says, you can buy a lug nut remover at AutoZone. It's basically an easy out. It has reverse threads in the sock that bite into the lug as you loosen it. I did 3 of those on my Honda. Let's give it a shot. Alright guys, check it out. This is what he's talking about. They have these kits, a locking wheel nut removal set. And basically, it's fluted on the inside and it's supposed to grab your locking lug nut. The problem is, most of them are way too small for the application. So you have to make sure that you get the right set. This one didn't work. The next set that I bought was this one, and it goes up to 1 1/8. Now that thing is big enough for the MOPAR wheel locks for sure. So we'll give that a shot. And I also bought this one at AutoZone. The biggest one they had at AutoZone was 1 inch diameter, and it does not fit over the MOPAR. It does fit over the McGuard, however, so we'll give that a shot as well. So there's 2 different designs in these lug nut remover tools. There's this kind of design and this kind of design. Which one's going to work better? I'm not sure, but I can tell you that this one doesn't fit there or there. It does fit there. This one will fit here, and this one will fit there. Maybe. All right, let's try the McGuard first here. Here we go. You ready? Wish me luck. Ooh, that was pretty violent, but that worked. Took a second, it bit in, and I'm happy with that. That's pretty cool. Wonder how hard it's going to be to get out of there though. Let's try this fluted one right here and see what happens. Oh, it took a little bit. Dug way down deep in there and finally took it right off. Amazing! Now, will this one work on the MOPAR, the one with the spinny doodad on it? I don't know, but let's find out. Here we go. No. And now I probably won't be able to get it off. Hope you guys like this video because it's costing me a lot of money. Basically what it's done is it's spun itself onto that ring, but the ring is still spinning. It's not able to grab onto the actual lug nut itself. How am I going to get it off? I'm screwed! Literally screwed. Oh, look at that. Ho-ho! Well, I made it work, but it has definitely ruined the wheel. It's probably ruined this thing. And yeah. I'm not fazed though. It's all in the name of science, automotive science. So hopefully it's worth it to you scientists. Let's move on to suggestion number 5 from the real Extractor or something. I can't read that, it's too small. I would probably just have cut one straight line across the nut and screwed it out with the largest flathead screwdriver I had. You know what? That sounds like a good idea. Let's give it a shot. Okay, so basically what he's saying is we want to cut a groove in it, like a flat groove, and then use a flat-headed screwdriver to turn it out. Will it work? I don't know. Let's give it a try. Now we're going to take a screwdriver and put in here and use a crescent wrench to get more leverage. I don't want to do it there. I'm afraid that's going to break it. So let's put it right here. Okay, here we go. Definitely not looking good. I'm going to need a big giant screwdriver. If anybody would like to purchase me one, my P.O. box is listed below. I'm just kidding. Yeah. It's just pulling out. When I put pressure on it, it just pulls outward. So that's a no-go for that one. All right, I told you 5, but a couple of those were failures. So let's do some bonus suggestions and see if we can actually get 5. Robert Pender says, literally did this 2 days ago on my spare. I went with grinding 2 flats and used a very heavy open end wrench and mallet. Let's give that a try. So basically what he's saying is you only need to grind 2 spots to be able to get a wrench on there. In my last video I ground 6 spots and put a socket over it. But if we could grind 2, we should be able to get this wrench over it and then add leverage to turn it off. Let's try it. Okay, I've ground 2 spots on there, enough to get a wrench on there. The problem I see is that it's pretty shallow. It's hard to get a wrench into this wheel. And the second thing is, will the wrench fail before it puts enough torque on there to undo the lug nut? Let's give it a shot and find out. Oh! it worked. Yeah, baby. All right, good job, guys. Thanks for the tip. All right, that was pretty cool, but let's do one more. Bonus tip number 2 comes from Braden Bretzel. Good tip, man, but instead of wasting a socket, just use a nut and weld the inside to the top of the lock nut. Let's give it a shot. So last time I welded a socket right here to get this off, but what Braden and many others said was instead of wasting a socket, use a nut. I didn't think much of it because it was just a spare socket I had in my drawer, but it is true. We don't need to waste a socket. Nuts are much cheaper, so let's weld this on there and see if that works. Well, it's not very good for your wheel, but it does work. How about that? But if you're worried about my wheel, don't be too worried. This is my real wheel. That's hard to say, but those were just factory takeoffs, so not too big of a deal. So what did we learn today? Well, I'm going to say that I learned that the MOPAR is definitely the best locking set if you're interested in keeping thieves away from your wheels, followed by the McGuard, and then Gorilla wasn't that great at all. As far as being able to remove one yourself, the best method that I found was getting one of these sets. I'll leave the links to the sets in the description below, but definitely if you have the MOPAR, you want to get one of these bigger sets that has up to 1 1/8, I believe. Otherwise, it's not even going to fit over your wheel lock. The second method I'm going to say is probably pounding a socket over the top of it, but like we said, the MOPAR one doesn't work that way because it's got that spinning ring on the outside. The Gorilla Guard, if you find the right socket, you can just pound it right through to the inside. And if you have a welder, that's pretty easy as well, just to weld a nut over the top, although I would take some tape and cover up your wheel if you're planning to use that method. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I hope you learned what not to do, what to do. And if you did, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that little bell icon. And we'll see you guys in the next video.